All right, so you lead Boyd Malvo?
Yes, sir.
His name has become infamous. Lee Boyd Malvo is better known as one of the D.C. snipers, the teenage accomplice who helped to carry out a notorious killing spree that terrorized the D.C. area for 3 weeks in the fall of 2002. March 10, 2004, he was sentenced to life in prison. But 22 other teenagers like him have paid the price for murder with their lives.
A man has been killed in front of me. A man just fell in the parking lot.
There's a lady, she's not moving.
The sniper attacks sent the D.C. area into a panic. People were paralyzed with fear during these random attacks. They made you feel like anyone, anywhere, at any time could be next. Malvo carried out the killings with John Muhammad, a man he considered a father figure. Together, they gunned down people at random. One man mowing the lawn outside a car dealership, another pumping gas, others out shopping, eating, and running errands. The victims, men and women, ranged in age from 13 to 72. Among them was a bus driver, an FBI analyst, a carpenter, a Vietnam vet. As Malvo hid and hunted down potential prey from the trunk of a modified Chevy Caprice, he was just 17 years old. The young man involved in attacks that gripped the nation was technically a child at the time of his arrest.
Obviously, we have different views in Maryland and Virginia regarding whether juveniles should be given the death penalty. In Maryland, we feel that's not appropriate.
Charged with capital murder, Malvo's life was ultimately spared by a Virginia judge and jury. 15 years ago today, he was sentenced to life in prison. Other teenagers who have committed heinous acts of violence that ended the lives of innocent people were not as fortunate. According to the Death Penalty Information Center, since 1985, 22 people have been executed for murders they committed when they were juveniles. Texas has done it more than any other state, with 13 executions of juvenile offenders. Virginia is next, executing 3 men who committed murders in their youth. But the practice had been abandoned since the last execution of a teen killer in 2003 in Oklahoma, when Scott Hayne was put to death for a double murder and kidnapping he committed when he was 17. A Supreme Court ruling in 2005 abolished the practice, saying executing minors violates the Constitution.
We argued that 18 is the natural age. It's an age that's reflected almost universally whenever legislatures have to find a dividing line between adolescence and adulthood for purposes of driving and signing contracts and entering marriage agreements.
The Supreme Court could ultimately end up intervening in Malvo's case as well, impacting whether he could get a new sentence. It's yet another chapter in this true crime story that didn't end when Malvo heard his fate on this day 15 years ago.